November 1959. 2 in the morning. Neville Goddard sits alone in his study in Los Angeles. In front of him is a sheet of paper. On that paper, he has written something he has never told anyone. Not his students, not his wife, not even Abdullah. A technique he discovered by accident. A technique so powerful, so immediate, so absolute, that when he first used it, he was terrified of what he had done. Because the technique doesn't just manifest reality. It erases one reality and replaces it with another. Completely, retroactively, as if the old reality never existed. He stares at the paper. His hand is shaking. He knows he should destroy it, burn it, pretend he never discovered it. But he can't, because 3 days ago, he used this technique again. And what he did crossed a line no mystic had ever crossed. A line that, once crossed, cannot be uncrossed. He picks up a pen, and at the bottom of the page, he writes one sentence. God forgive me for what I have learned to do. This is hidden mind master. And this is the secret Neville hid from everyone. Let me tell you how this secret was discovered. In 2020, a private collector purchased Neville's personal estate. Among the items were dozens of journals, letters, and manuscripts. Most were familiar. Lectures, notes, correspondence. But one document stood out. A single page, folded, sealed with wax, and labeled, never to be opened, never to be read, to be destroyed upon my death. But it wasn't destroyed. And in 2020, it was opened. What was written on that page changed everything we thought we knew about Neville Goddard. The page was titled, The Reversal Protocol. And it began, in 1952, I discovered something Abdullah never taught me. Something I don't believe he knew. Or if he knew, he took it to his grave. I discovered that assumption doesn't just create future reality. It can rewrite past reality. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, literally. I discovered that if you assume something happened differently in the past, and you hold that assumption with absolute conviction, reality reorganizes itself to match. The past changes. Memories change. Evidence changes. Even other people's memories change. As if you have reached back through time and altered the timeline itself. The document describes the first time Neville discovered this. It was accidental. He wrote, in 1952, I had a falling out with a close friend, a bitter argument. Words were said that couldn't be taken back. The friendship ended. For months, I carried guilt, regret, wishing I could go back and handle it differently. One night, I was practicing revision. Neville's well-known technique of mentally rewriting past events. But this time, I didn't just imagine it differently. I assumed it happened differently. I didn't revise the memory as a mental exercise. I revised reality itself. I said to myself, the argument never happened. We never fought. The friendship never ended. We are still close. And I held that assumption with such intensity, such conviction, such absolute certainty that something shifted. Not in my mind. In reality, the next morning, I received a letter from that friend. A warm, friendly letter. as if nothing had ever happened, as if the argument never occurred. I thought perhaps he had forgiven me, decided to reconcile. But when I saw him in person, I realized he didn't remember the argument at all. It wasn't that he forgave it. It never happened. In his timeline, in his memory, in his reality, it was erased. Neville wrote, I was disturbed by this, deeply disturbed, because it meant I had done something I didn't fully understand. I had not just changed my memory of the past. I had changed the past itself. Or I had shifted into a timeline where that past never occurred. Either way, the result was the same. A reality I remembered no longer existed, and a reality I assumed had taken its place. And my friend existed in that new reality with no memory of the old one. I had rewritten his history without his knowledge, without his consent, and I began to wonder what else could be rewritten, what else could be erased, what else could be replaced, and more disturbingly, if I could do this, who else could? And how many times had my own past been rewritten by others? How many realities had I existed in that I no longer remember because someone assumed them away? The document reveals that Neville spent years experimenting with this, testing the limits, discovering the rules. He wrote, I found that the reversal protocol works differently than normal assumption. Normal assumption creates new future outcomes. The reversal protocol alters existing past outcomes, and it requires 3 conditions to work. First, the assumption must be about a past event that is emotionally charged. Neutral events cannot be reversed. Only events that carry strong emotional weight, regret, guilt, trauma, shame, these can be rewritten. Second, the assumption must be held with absolute conviction, not hope, not desire. Absolute certainty that the past you are assuming is the real past, and the past you remember is the false one. This is the hardest part, because your memory contradicts your assumption, and you must override memory with conviction. Third, the assumption must be sustained for at least 7 days. The first 3 days, nothing changes. Days 4 through 6, you begin to notice small inconsistencies, details that don't quite match your memory. By day 7, the reversal is complete. The old past is gone. The new past is real, and you are the only one who remembers both. Now here's where it becomes dangerous. Neville wrote, I began using the reversal protocol more frequently to fix mistakes, to erase regrets, to rewrite failures as successes. I revised a failed business venture, assumed it succeeded, and within a week, my memory of the failure faded, replaced by memories of success. Documents changed. Contracts I remembered signing differently now showed different terms. People remembered events the way I had assumed them, not the way they originally happened. I revised a lecture I gave poorly, assumed I gave it brilliantly, and the next time someone mentioned that lecture, they praised it, said it was one of my best. I checked the recording. It was brilliant, not the disaster I remembered. The past had changed, or I had shifted to a timeline where it never was a disaster, and I felt powerful, godlike, able to reach back through time and perfect my life. Remove every mistake. Erase every failure. Create a flawless history. But then something happened that made Neville stop. The document describes the incident that changed everything. He wrote, "In 1958, a student of mine died. A young woman, brilliant, kind, full of potential. She was killed in a car accident. Sudden, senseless, tragic. I was devastated. And in my grief, I thought, what if I could reverse this? What if I could assume she never died? Assume the accident never happened? Bring her back? Not resurrect her, but rewrite the timeline so she never left." I knew this was crossing a line. I knew this was playing with forces beyond my understanding. But I was grieving. And grief makes you reckless. So I did it. I performed the reversal protocol. I assumed she was alive. I assumed the accident never happened. I held that assumption for 7 days, with absolute conviction, with total certainty. And on day 7, I received a phone call from her, alive, cheerful, asking about our next lesson. I was stunned, relieved, overjoyed. It worked. I had reversed her death, brought her back, saved her. But here's what I discovered. When I spoke to her, she had no memory of the accident, because in this timeline, it never happened. But I had memories of 2 timelines. One where she died, one where she lived. And those memories created a split in my consciousness. I could no longer tell which timeline was real, which one was the original, which one I created. And worse, I realized that in the original timeline, her death had meaning. Her family grieved, learned, grew. Other students were impacted by her loss, inspired to live more fully. Her death, tragic as it was, created ripples, consequences, changes in others. And by reversing it, I erased all of that. I erased the grief, the growth, the meaning. I didn't just save her. I deleted an entire chain of events, an entire web of consequences, and I had no idea what else I had changed, what other lives were altered, what other outcomes were rewritten. Because when you change the past, you don't just change one event. You change everything that followed from that event. Like pulling one thread and watching the entire tapestry unravel. Neville wrote, "That night, I realized what I had done. I had not saved her. I had erased the timeline, replaced it with another. And in doing so, I had played God in a way that terrified me. Because if I could do this, then reality was not solid, not fixed, not reliable. Reality was fluid, malleable, subject to the assumptions of anyone with enough conviction to rewrite it. And if everyone could do this, if everyone could reverse their pasts, then there was no objective reality, no shared history, no truth, only infinite timelines, constantly being created, erased, replaced by anyone with enough power to assume them into existence. This is when I understood why Abdullah never taught this, why he never even hinted at it, not because he didn't know, but because he knew it was too dangerous, too destabilizing, too godlike for humans to possess. We are not meant to rewrite the past. We are meant to transform the future, to grow, to evolve, to become, not to erase, not to undo, not to play with time itself. The document reveals what Neville did next. He wrote, "I made a decision. I would never use the reversal protocol again. Never teach it to anyone. Never speak of it. Never write it down except for this one page, which I will seal, which I will mark for destruction. Because this knowledge is too dangerous to exist, and yet I cannot bring myself to forget it. Cannot erase it from my own mind, because I have used it. I have crossed the line. I have rewritten reality, and I must live with that knowledge, with that power, with that burden, for the rest of my life. Knowing I could reach back and change anything, fix anything, erase anything, but choosing not to, because some lines, once crossed, revealed that you were never meant to cross them, and the only redemption is to never cross them again." But here's the part that makes this even more disturbing. The document contains a second section. Written in 1959, 1 year after the reversal of the student's death. And it reveals something that shattered Neville completely. He wrote, "I need to confess something. Something I have told no one. When I reversed the student's death, when I brought her back, I noticed something strange. There were 2 other people whose deaths I remembered. Deaths that seemed to have never happened. A colleague who I distinctly remembered dying in 1955. But when I mentioned it to others, they looked at me confused, said he was alive, showed me recent letters from him, and I realized someone had reversed his death. Someone had rewritten that timeline, and I was one of the few who remembered both. Then there was a family member, an uncle who died when I was young. But after the reversal protocol, I began to have memories of him alive, visiting us. Being present at events, I remembered him missing, as if someone had reversed his death too. And I was experiencing the bleed-through, the memory overlap, between timelines." He continued, "This is when I understood the horrifying truth. The reversal protocol is not new. It is not something I discovered. It is something that has always existed. And people have been using it. Throughout history, mystics, practitioners, anyone who stumbled upon it, rewriting their pasts, erasing their mistakes, bringing back their dead, and creating infinite branching timelines. And those of us sensitive enough, aware enough, conscious enough, we experience the bleed, the memory fragments from other timelines, the déjà vu, the Mandela effects, the sense that something happened differently than everyone else remembers. These are not false memories. These are real memories, from timelines that were erased, replaced, rewritten by someone with enough conviction to assume them away. And we are living in a reality that is constantly being edited, constantly being revised, constantly being rewritten by invisible hands, making invisible changes, and we only notice the glitches, the inconsistencies, the moments when the rewrite wasn't perfect. This is the end of part 1. In part 2, we reveal the complete reversal protocol, the exact technique Neville used, the 3 conditions required, the 7-day process. We show you how it works, why it works, and why you should never use it. We also reveal what happened to Neville after 1959, how carrying this knowledge affected him, how living between timelines fragmented his sense of reality, and we reveal the one safeguard, the one protection, the one way to anchor yourself in a timeline so you cannot be erased by someone else's reversal. This is Hidden Mind Master, and the secret Neville hid from everyone is about to be fully exposed. Welcome back. In part 1, we revealed Neville's deepest secret, the reversal protocol, the technique that doesn't just manifest future reality, it rewrites past reality, completely, retroactively, as if the old timeline never existed. We showed you how Neville discovered it by accident in 1952, how he used it to erase mistakes, rewrite failures, and even reverse a student's death, and how he realized he had crossed a line no mystic should ever cross. Now, in part 2, we reveal the complete protocol, every step, every condition, every consequence. We show you exactly how timeline reversal works, why reality is constantly being edited by invisible hands, and how to protect yourself from being erased by someone else's assumption. This is Hidden Mind Master, and this is the knowledge that destroyed Neville's sense of reality. Let me give you the complete reversal protocol, exactly as Neville documented it. The technique has 3 mandatory conditions and a 7-day process. Condition 1, emotional charge. The past event you want to reverse must carry strong emotional weight. You cannot reverse neutral events. You cannot rewrite mundane moments. Only events charged with regret, guilt, trauma, shame, grief, or rage can be reversed. Neville discovered why. Emotional charge creates temporal anchors. Memories with strong emotion are etched deeper into the timeline. They create stronger impressions in the fabric of reality. And paradoxically, this makes them easier to rewrite, because emotional charge is the interface, the access point, the handle by which consciousness can grip the past and reshape it. Neutral events have no handle, no grip, no way for consciousness to latch onto them and pull them into a different configuration. But traumatic events, regretful moments, devastating losses, these create deep grooves in time, and those grooves can be erased and rewritten. Condition 2, absolute conviction. You must assume the new past with total certainty, not hope that it happened differently, not wish it happened differently. Know with absolute conviction that it did happen differently, that your memory of the original event is the false memory, and your assumption of the new event is the true memory. Neville wrote, "This is the hardest part, because your brain has evidence of the original event, memory, sensory data, emotional residue, and you must override all of it. You must gaslight yourself, intentionally, systematically, completely. You must tell yourself, that memory is wrong. That event never happened that way. This is what really happened." And you must say it with such force, such certainty, such unwavering conviction that your subconscious accepts it. Your nervous system believes it. Your consciousness locks on to the new timeline and releases the old one. Most people cannot do this. They waver, they doubt. They maintain attachment to the original memory, and the reversal fails. The timeline doesn't shift. The past doesn't change. Only those with absolute conviction can rewrite history. Condition 3. 7-day sustained assumption. The reversal doesn't happen instantly. It unfolds over 7 days. Neville documented the exact progression. Day 1. You begin the assumption. You declare the new past. You feel resistance. Your memory fights back, contradicts you, shows you evidence of the original event. You must ignore this evidence. Dismiss it as false memory, corrupted data, implanted fiction. And you must hold the new assumption despite the resistance. Day 2. The resistance intensifies. You experience cognitive dissonance. Your brain is trying to reconcile two contradictory timelines, the one you remember and the one you're assuming. This creates mental strain, headaches, confusion, disorientation. This is normal. This is the timeline beginning to destabilize. Hold the assumption. Day 3. The dissonance peaks. You may experience physical symptoms: nausea, dizziness, fatigue. This is your nervous system recalibrating, adjusting to a new timeline, releasing the old one. Do not stop. Do not waver. This is the breakthrough point. If you maintain conviction through day 3, the reversal will complete. Day 4. The shift begins. You start noticing small inconsistencies, details that don't match your original memory. A document you remember one way now shows something different. A person mentions the event differently than you remember. These are not mistakes. These are evidence that the timeline is changing. The past is being rewritten. Reality is conforming to your assumption. Day 5. The inconsistencies multiply. More evidence of the new timeline appears. Fewer traces of the old timeline remain. You may experience memory confusion, not remembering which version is real. This is normal. You are existing between timelines, experiencing both simultaneously. By the end of day 5, the old timeline begins to feel like a dream, distant, unreal, fading. Day 6. The new timeline solidifies. Most evidence of the old timeline has vanished, replaced by evidence of the new one. People remember events the way you assumed them. Documents reflect the new past. Your own memory begins to doubt the original version, begins to accept the new version as truth. You are almost fully shifted into the new timeline. Day 7. The reversal completes. The old timeline is gone, erased. The new timeline is real, solid, confirmed by external reality. And you are the only one who remembers both. Everyone else exists only in the new timeline, with no memory of the old one. You have successfully rewritten the past, changed history, altered reality itself, and there is no going back. The old timeline doesn't exist anymore. It's not that it's hidden or suppressed. It's that it never happened in this reality, in this timeline, in this version of existence. You have replaced it completely, permanently, irreversibly. This is the reversal protocol. This is how Neville rewrote his past. This is how he brought back the dead. This is how he erased failures and created a perfect history. And this is why he was terrified of what he had learned to do. Now let me show you the mechanism that explains why this works. Neville wrote about this in the sealed document. He said, "I have come to understand that the past is not fixed. We believe the past is solid because we remember it. But memory is not the past. Memory is a present moment reconstruction of the past. And if you change the reconstruction, you change the past. Not metaphorically, literally, because the past doesn't exist anywhere except in present moment consciousness. The event that happened yesterday doesn't still exist yesterday. It only exists as a memory trace in your consciousness right now. And if you change that memory trace, if you override it with absolute conviction, consciousness updates the timeline, and reality reorganizes to match. This is not time travel. This is timeline selection. There are infinite timelines, infinite versions of the past, all existing simultaneously as probability fields. And your consciousness selects which timeline you experience. By default, you select the timeline consistent with your memories. But if you override your memories, if you assume a different past with total conviction, you shift to a different timeline. One where that different past actually occurred. And everyone in that timeline has memories consistent with it, because they exist in that timeline, not the old one. The old timeline still exists, but without you in it. You've moved, shifted, jumped to a parallel track, and taken your consciousness with you. Here's the proof Neville discovered. He wrote, "After I reversed a student's death, I kept detailed records. I compared my memories to physical evidence, and I found discrepancies. I remembered her funeral, the eulogy I gave, the grief I felt. But there was no record of a funeral, no death certificate, no obituary, no grave. It wasn't that these things were hidden. They never existed in this timeline, because in this timeline, she never died. The accident never happened. The funeral never occurred. And I am the only one who remembers it, because I jumped from a timeline where it happened to a timeline where it didn't, and I brought my memories with me. This is how I know the reversal protocol works. Not because I changed the past in one timeline, but because I moved to a different timeline, where the past I assumed is the actual past, and the past I remembered is fiction, from a timeline I no longer inhabit." Now let me reveal what this knowledge did to Neville. The sealed document contains entries from 1960 to 1972, documenting his psychological deterioration. He wrote in 1960, "I can no longer trust my own memories. Every memory I have could be from a timeline I no longer exist in. Every event I remember could have been erased by someone else's reversal. I remember things others don't remember. Others remember things I don't remember. And I cannot tell which memories are real and which are artifacts from erased timelines. I am living in a reality that is constantly shifting, constantly being edited, constantly being rewritten, and I have no anchor, no solid ground, no way to know what actually happened versus what someone assumed happened. This is the price of the knowledge. This is the cost of crossing the line. I have become unmoored from reality, floating between timelines, unable to trust anything, unable to believe anything, unable to know anything for certain. In 1965, he wrote, "I have begun experiencing what I call timeline bleeding, memories from multiple timelines mixing together. I remember events that happened differently in different timelines, and I cannot separate them, cannot organize them, cannot determine which timeline I'm currently in. For example, I remember my father dying in 1943, but I also remember him alive in 1950. I remember both, vividly, equally real. And I don't know which timeline is the current one, or if both are real, existing simultaneously, and I'm experiencing both. This is not dementia. This is not memory failure. This is the consequence of knowing the reversal protocol. Once you know timelines can be rewritten, once you've done it yourself, you become sensitive to all timeline shifts. Not just your own, but everyone's. Every reversal creates ripples, echoes, fragments. And those of us who have crossed the line, we experience the fragments, the bleeding, the overlap, and it drives us slowly insane. In 1970, he wrote, "I have stopped trying to determine what is real, because I have realized everything is real. Every timeline, every version, every possibility, all of them exist. All of them are happening. And consciousness is simply selecting which one to experience. I am not in one timeline. I am in all timelines simultaneously, experiencing fragments of each. And the only question is, which fragment am I paying attention to right now? This is liberation or madness. I cannot tell the difference anymore. And perhaps there is no difference. Perhaps liberation is realizing that reality is not solid, not fixed, not reliable. That it is fluid, malleable, subject to assumption, subject to conviction, subject to whoever has the power to rewrite it. And perhaps madness is trying to hold on to one version as real when all versions are equally real. I don't know anymore. I just know I cannot unknow what I know, cannot unsee what I've seen, cannot return to the innocence of believing the past is fixed. It is not fixed. It never was. And that knowledge is both the greatest power and the greatest curse. Now let me reveal the Mandela effect, the phenomenon where large groups of people remember events differently than they occurred. Neville's document explains it. The Mandela effect is not false memory. It is timeline bleeding. When someone performs a reversal, when they rewrite a significant past event, they don't just shift themselves to a new timeline. They shift everyone connected to that event. Everyone whose life was touched by it. Everyone whose memories include it. And in the new timeline, most people have memories consistent with the new past. But some people retain fragments of the old timeline. Memory residue, echoes, ghosts of the erased past. These people experience the Mandela effect. They remember the old timeline, the erased one, the one that was replaced. And they cannot understand why everyone else remembers differently, because everyone else exists fully in the new timeline. But they exist between timelines, experiencing both. And this creates the confusion, the certainty that something changed, that reality was edited, that the past was rewritten. And they are right, it was, by someone with enough conviction to assume it differently. Here's the disturbing implication. Neville wrote, if the reversal protocol has been used throughout history, if mystics and practitioners have been rewriting timelines for thousands of years, then the history we think we know may not be the original history. It may be the result of countless reversals, countless edits, countless rewrites. We may be living in timeline version 10,000 or version 1 million, with no way to access the original timeline. No way to know what actually happened before the first reversal. We accept history as fact, as solid, as unchangeable. But if the past can be rewritten, then history is not fact. It is the current consensus reality, subject to change, subject to revision, subject to whoever has the conviction to assume it differently. And this means we have no foundation, no ground truth, no objective reality, only shifting sands, only fluid timelines, only the version we currently inhabit, until someone rewrites it again. Now let me give you the protection protocol, the one way to anchor yourself so you cannot be erased by someone else's reversal. Neville wrote, after discovering timeline bleeding, I developed a technique to stabilize my existence, to anchor myself in my current timeline, to prevent being erased or rewritten by others. The technique is simple. Every morning, declare your timeline. Say out loud, I exist in this timeline. This is my reality. This is my history. I anchor myself here. I cannot be moved by another's assumption. I cannot be erased by another's reversal. I am sovereign in my timeline, and I choose to remain. This creates a timeline anchor, a declaration of sovereignty, a statement of existence that cannot be overridden by external assumptions. It doesn't prevent others from creating new timelines, but it prevents them from moving you into those timelines without your consent. You remain where you are, experiencing your chosen reality, while they shift to theirs. This is the only protection, the only defense, against being edited out of existence by someone else's conviction. Here's what happened to Neville at the end. The document's final entry is dated October 1972, 1 month before his death. He wrote, I am tired, so tired, of living between timelines, of remembering things that never happened, of not remembering things that did, of watching reality shift and change and edit itself constantly. I am ready to let go, to release my grip on all timelines, to stop anchoring, to stop trying to determine what is real, because I have finally understood nothing is real, and everything is real. And everything is real. Reality is what you assume it to be, and I have assumed too many realities, inhabited too many timelines, remembered too many versions, and I cannot hold them all anymore, so I will let them go, all of them. And perhaps in letting go, I will finally know peace. Or perhaps I will scatter across all timelines simultaneously, existing everywhere and nowhere, a consciousness unbound by any single reality. I don't know, but I am ready to find out. God forgive me for what I learned to do, and God grant me rest from the burden of this knowledge. 1 month later, Neville died, and the sealed document was placed in his estate with instructions to destroy it. But it was not destroyed, and now you know what it contained. The reversal protocol, the technique that rewrites the past, that shifts timelines, that erases one reality and replaces it with another. You know the 3 conditions: emotional charge, absolute conviction, 7-day process. You know the mechanism: timeline selection through memory override. You know the consequences: reality becomes fluid, memory becomes unreliable, existence becomes uncertain. You know the protection: daily timeline anchoring. And you know the price: carrying knowledge that unmoors you from reality itself. This is what Neville hid from everyone, even from Abdullah, because Abdullah taught him how to create the future. But Neville discovered how to rewrite the past, and that discovery destroyed his sense of what is real. Here's the final truth, the truth that ties everything together. Neville wrote, "I have come to believe that Abdullah knew about the reversal protocol, but he never taught it because he knew the price. He knew that once you learn you can rewrite the past, you lose your ability to trust the present. You lose your ability to believe anything is solid, real, permanent. You become a ghost, haunting multiple timelines, remembering multiple versions, unable to commit to any single reality as true. And that is a form of hell, a prison of infinite possibility, where nothing is certain, nothing is stable, nothing is home. Abdullah spared me this knowledge, but I discovered it anyway, and I have paid the price. And now I pass the knowledge to you, not so you will use it, but so you will understand. Understand that reality is not what you think it is. Understand that the past is not fixed. Understand that memory is not reliable. Understand that we are living in timelines that are constantly being edited by invisible hands, making invisible changes. And the only sanity is to accept this, to anchor yourself, to declare your timeline, and to stop trying to reverse what has already been lived. Let the past be the past, even if it could be changed. Especially because it could be changed, because some powers are not meant to be used. Some lines are not meant to be crossed. Some knowledge is not meant to be possessed. And the reversal protocol is all 3. This is the secret Neville hid from everyone. The night he crossed the line no mystic had ever crossed. The technique that gave him godlike power over time itself. And the knowledge that fractured his reality into infinite fragments. He never taught it, never spoke of it, never wrote about it except once, in a sealed document that was never supposed to be opened, but was. And now you know. You know the past can be rewritten. You know timelines can be shifted. You know reality is fluid. And you must decide, will you use this knowledge? Will you attempt the reversal protocol? Will you cross the line Neville crossed? Or will you anchor yourself in your current timeline, accept your past as it is, and create your future instead of rewriting your history? Neville's final advice was clear. Never reverse. Always anchor. Never rewrite. Always create forward. The past is not your prison. It is your foundation. And foundations are meant to be built upon, not erased. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose life in one timeline over existence in all timelines. Because wholeness in one reality is better than fragments in infinite realities. This is the teaching. This is the warning. This is the secret Neville took to his grave. Almost. This is Hidden Mind Master, where the deepest secrets are revealed, where forbidden knowledge is exposed, where the line between power and madness is examined. You now know what Neville knew, what he hid from Abdullah, what he sealed away from the world, the reversal protocol, the technique that rewrites history, the power that unmoors you from reality. Use it at your own risk, or better yet, never use it at all. Anchor yourself. Declare your timeline. Accept your past. Create your future. And leave the reversal of history to those willing to pay the ultimate price. The loss of certainty that anything is real. Neville paid that price, and it destroyed him. Learn from his crossing. Don't cross the line yourself. Some knowledge, once possessed, cannot be unpossessed. And some powers, once used, cannot be unused. You have been warned. You have been taught. You have been shown the line. Now choose which side you will stand on, and live with that choice forever.